That's one of the reasons why I got into the mortgage brokerage side of things, is because I just felt like no one was explaining it to me, and it was so frustrating. I felt like I was pulling teeth, and it was just really nice to have that conversation and just lay it all out for them. And it's like, yeah, like, don't be scared of this. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Refined Real Estate Podcast, episode 11. We are real estate investors in Halifax. Combined, we've purchased over 40 units, we've flipped houses, we've wholesaled, much more. Today I'm here with my co-host Ian. Manny, our other co-host, is not here today. He's not going to be participating, or he's not available. So you're stuck with us. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about house flipping.
Yeah.
An episode near and dear to Ian and I's hearts. These are the first projects that we started out working on together. But before we get into the episode, we just want to say, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're listening and watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be kind, give us a 5-star rating. And we also would love to hear from you. We've been meeting a lot of people out in the real world, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback there. But if you can show us a comment, any feedback is really appreciated. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, we're all ears. So first of all, before we start talking about house flipping, let's just talk about what's going on. So for you, Ian, what's new in the world? What is happening?
New in the world. We've got a handful of offers out there. We're negotiating some deals. I'm certainly not scared off by the current financial backlash that you're hearing out there, and interest rates this and interest rates that, financial collapse. I think if anything, we are even better positioned now, because if you can go out there, buy a deal, make it work under the current market conditions, when things inevitably cool off and get a little bit more optimistic, you're just going to be then that much better of a position. Now,
100%, yeah. If you can make things work when times are tough, this is when you start really developing those skills, and you have to be a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. Learn a couple more tips and tricks, maybe from the Refined Real Estate Podcast.
So overall, feeling really good about things. Really looking forward to moving forward with some of these deals if all goes according to plan. And we'll be able to share some of those details with you guys once we get them done.
Awesome. And I guess then on my side, analyzing those deals, doing my part on that side of things. Interestingly enough, we received an email from a seller this morning, and they were kind enough to share everything that was wrong with the building, including a possible fire that happened over the weekend. So as real estate investors, when we're analyzing deals, and we'll get into it in today's episode on the numbers side of things, just taking into account the renovations and that side of things, and severe repairs that need work, those are the things that are going to get ahead on things, kind of get your leg up on the situation. So that's what's going on for me. And then on the mortgage brokerage side, I am working on a couple of deals, a couple larger ones that are going to have some creative financing with them, possibly have some more commercial mortgages on the side of it. And then, so that's, again, I'm pretty fresh to the mortgage brokerage to be on that side of the team. So getting a lot of really good experience that way. Yeah, and got a really nice referral this week. So thanks, Stephanie. Showed it to you. But really enjoying that, because it's really making us stronger as Refined, just really dialing in that financing side. So really been enjoying that. Yeah,
likewise, learning lots. There's so many cool things out there that you can do that didn't even really, you're not going to necessarily listen to a Bigger Pockets podcast and just pick up, okay, no, this is how you do it. No, it's nice to rely on some experts that especially know the way things work around here, and to just see some of the cool ways people are doing some of these things. It's inspiring, but it's also super educating. So just another tool in the tool bag.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually had a really nice conversation last night, just speaking to someone who's looking at doing a first-time home buy, a possible investment property, and even just explaining what to us. We've been doing this for a number of years, and getting multiple mortgages, different types of mortgages, commercial, residential, private. It was nice to just relay that experience to that potential client and just explain the basics, because I know that's what that's one of the reasons why I got into the mortgage brokerage side of things, is because I just felt like no one was explaining it to me, and it was so frustrating. I felt like I was pulling teeth, and it was just really nice to have that conversation and just lay it all out for them. And it's like, yeah, like, don't be scared of this. Ask questions. Oftentimes, unfortunately, the bank is not going to take the time to answer those questions, or they might not be knowledgeable in that sort of side of things. But yeah, so it's just nice to pass that information along. And speaking of passing the information along, this will probably come out in a week and a half or so. But if you haven't, and if you are a beginner or intermediate investor and you're looking to buy your next investment property or buy your first one, then we're actually planning on hosting a retreat from May 12th to 14th. So we've got a really awesome Airbnb rented out. We have a small amount of spots. I think we only have 7 spots left.
Yep.
As of today. So anyone who wants to come out and spend a weekend learning about real estate investing, spend your time with a group of like-minded people, then I definitely recommend checking that out. If you want to find out more information, you can go to our website, refinerealestate.ca, go into the coaching and retreat section, or you can read more about it there, and you can find the registration link there.
Yeah, and likewise, very excited for that. Going to be some good food, some good laughs, some great networking opportunities. It'll be pretty business-esque during the day and then pretty casual during the night. So yeah, there'll be a lot of cool tips and tricks, and just, when we get ranting about certain things, we're going to try and condense as much as we can into the day, but then throughout the night, that's when we can really talk about some of the fun stuff in the world of real estate investing. So yeah, very much so looking forward to that.
Awesome. But yeah, so today we can get into it. Again, we're missing Manny, but this between Ian and I, house flipping is, I guess, what you call our wheelhouse on things. So I guess we'll take it off with you, Ian.
Yeah, so before Janelle and I partnered up, I had done a handful of flips anyways. So I kind of got to take some of the bruises early on and carry some of that over into the flips that we had done. Yeah, learned a lot. Didn't get burnt anytime too bad, but definitely learned a lot, and gonna hopefully try and get some of that information out to you guys today.
Here's a question for you. Not to jump the gun on this, but when you were buying like your first or second house flip, how were you analyzing the numbers on that?
Yeah, so very rudimentary. So basically would take basically what we're buying the property for, add up all the closing expenses, figure out what the renovation budget would be, and then figured out, we could stand to make about X amount of dollars and just sort of work our way back from there.
Okay.
So
super cool. Because I know when we get into it, we're going to talk about how we analyze house flips now, and it's different. So I just kind of wanted to lay that out at the start.
Yeah. Early on, it was kind of a, back of the napkin type analyzing tool. So basically, just run the basic numbers, figure out where we'd be, and then again, early on, did a lot of the sweat equity route where I was doing a lot of the work myself. So in those cases, it's like you got to figure out what things you're good at, what you can make money at, and away you go. Yeah, learned again so many lessons doing it that way. So it was like, say we were going to do the roof of a project. Well, basically I would just figure out, okay, well, this is what we're charging a client. So yes, in that sense, we're creating that much value there, but then there's some things that wasn't necessarily good at or didn't have good contractors for. So kind of just bumbled the way through those. But in the end, like I said, made money on every single flip. But again, budgets blown, timelines blown. It's quite difficult actually to flip a home.
Yeah, here's a question for you, because you've done several house flips before you started working with me on house flips. So when you're first starting out, I get just kind of thinking of like a new investor out there, someone who's thinking about flipping a house or might be in the middle of it right now. Like, what was one of the hardest moments that you went through, and like how did you get through that? Like, what were you thinking, or what did you say to yourself?
Yeah, so again, hardest parts of it. So getting the property was probably the first hard thing to do, because like, again, how I'm sure a lot of people out there thinking what flipping a house looks like is you just find one on the MLS and you're sort of off to the races. But we know quite well, and most people in the industry know that if a property makes its way to the MLS, unless you're doing like major upgrades, it's tough to make those numbers work.
So to provide a better example or illustration of this calculation, we're going to use an actual flip that we did last spring, I guess, or finished off last spring. So we, again, starting backwards with this, looking at your after repair value or your sale value. So we had $296,000. Now to come up with our suggested purchase price, you take that number, multiply by 70%. And then we're going to subtract off our renovation. So whatever that is times 70%. Then our renovations were $72,000. So subtract that off. And then you get your suggested purchase price of $148,000. And just to run through the numbers on this one. So our purchase price in this case was actually $120,000. So we underpaid by $28,000. And just to run through the profit on that one, after repair value, $296, subtract off the purchase price plus renovations. So subtract off $192,000, take into account the realtor commission that we paid, and then take into account we had a private loan on this property. We paid interest, and that was $25,000. So we were left with a profit of $65,000.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad. And that one was, I guess all things considered, pretty straightforward. We definitely ran into some issues. And that's the thing with flipping. It's like, we're not buying our dream home. We're buying what opportunities we have. And with that one, yeah, we just knew we could get such a good price on it. Again, that was a private sale. Yeah, you're not finding too many houses in HRM for around 120 on the MLS. So that's again where we gain such a huge advantage is finding these off-market properties. So
yeah. And just to add on to that, just to run through the sort of like timeline on that one. Can't talk at all today. Run through the timeline on that one. So that one we found through our direct mail campaign, sent the homeowner a letter. Said, hey, like, we're really interested in buying your property. We were looking for distressed properties. So properties, the siding's not looking very good. Windows aren't looking very good. Maybe it's an absentee owner. Sent them a letter. They got back to us and said, yes, we are interested in selling. And it was an older person who wanted to move out of the house. It was a lot of work for them. And the house was in desperate need of repairs. For example, when they started taking off some of the drywall, I think it might have been like that. What do you call it? It's like that sort of like not cardboardy, but like plasterboard.
Linoleum? Or like on the walls?
On the walls, yeah. It's like not gyprock. It's like the other like kind of like flimsy thing.
Flimsy thing.
Maybe not. Okay, never mind. Anyway, when they started digging into the walls, they actually found a lot of black mold throughout the house, and the contractors were basically like, I can't believe someone was living here. They also found no insulation. So they were basically heating the outdoors. So I guess that's a great sort of tip right there is when you are running your numbers and you're doing your renovation numbers, always keep into account contingency for the unknown. And that's how it works oftentimes in private sale because you're trying to make a competitive offer. You're trying to offer, no conditions, we'll close whenever you want, we're not going to do an inspection. So that's, you play the risk reward game of giving a competitive offer for you. And you have the kind of question mark out there of like, well, what else are we going to find in there?
Yeah. And yeah, over the number of flips that I've done, yeah, every single one of them had something weird to it. Like none of them were very straightforward, but you start learning as you do a few of them, like what things to look for, what things that you could potentially expect with them. So it is a game where the more reps, the better you get. Yeah, we've seen some things. We've seen some very wet basements. We've seen some seaweed as insulation in walls. We've seen, just a whole horde of things.
Yeah, and to put it into context, the original renovation budget for this property was like 45,000 and we ended up at 67,000. So keep that in mind.
And again, something else to caution you guys about is that one ended up selling right around like the peak of the market when things were just going crazy. So we had the market conditions in our favor big time. Whereas had we have done that maybe 6 months later, 6 months later, we probably would have got, I don't know, probably 30 grand less, 40 grand less
easily,
type deal. So
which
that's
basically wipes out most of our profit right there.
For 20 grand for, for all the work that went into that, it's like, no, it's a nightmare. So
I guess that's just to say to the people out there who say, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people, especially in Halifax, saying like, yeah, you're like the profit gouging and this and that. And it's like, that's the thing. Like, if you're looking at someone who is doing house flipping over a number of years, you really need to look at their total profit or profit per year, because that's the kind of thing. You might have 1-2 really good ones in a row, and then you have one that basically wipes out the profit for the last 1 or 2. So it is the game that you play. And that's where, as real estate investors, you do your absolute best to mitigate those risks.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's like a number of things that you can do. So again, most commonly what you're going to see go wrong in a flip is your numbers are just off. Like you misjudge either your after repair value or you misjudge your renovation costs. And the ways to mitigate those the best is, working with people that have experience in doing this. So if you have contractors that you can use, that you trust, that they can go in, walk the property before you buy it, and then you can leverage their experience and them saying, okay, well, we have knob and tube wiring or whatever it might be. We have no insulation. If we want to move this wall here, we got to put in a beam or whatever it might be. So, you might not want to use your buddy from high school that you just know through a friend or whatever it is. You might want to have people that have experience doing this type of thing. And when you're doing your walkthroughs, be able to leverage their knowledge. That will make a huge difference. And likewise, if you're kind of just speculating what you could get for the after repair value, it's really nice if you can work with someone that actually knows, like, this is what we're going to see, whether it be an experienced realtor or people that have just done it before. So you can really dial that in. Yeah,
great points right there. Whatever project you're doing in real estate, like, there are always so many opportunities to start building a network. And especially if you're someone who's out there and you found an off-market deal and you go to, like, say, an electrician, you say, hey, like, have this off-market deal, can you come by and take a look at it with me and do up some quotes for me? That's a great way to start a relationship. And especially if they see that you're actually out there, you're viewing a house, you're running numbers on it, you're going to be a little bit farther ahead than the person who maybe calls them up and asks them like a random question, says like, oh yeah, like, how much is it to upgrade a panel from like 100 to 200 amp? But if you're like, hey, this is my potential project, come take a look at it, then, you're really showing them your credibility. And even for other real estate investors, if you're running numbers on a flip and if you want to be a little bit further along in the process, again, you don't want to be kind of coming up with like a lot of hypotheticals and a lot of maybes. But if you have a project that you are looking at, maybe reach out to your network, reach out to us, in fact, and say like, hey, can you look at my numbers for this flip? And if you have some sort of credibility piece to start working with and show them that you are doing things, taking action, then that's a great way to start a relationship and say like, oh, hey, like, this is my project. Do you want to work together on it? And maybe I can leverage your experience and hey, we'll split the profit. Anything like that, just to leverage other people's experience and knowledge and education.
Yeah, absolutely. And then other than that, some other other things that we've run into is in some cases we've over renovated some things, maybe put in features that weren't really necessary, that we didn't necessarily recover our value on. We've pretty much we've gone over budget on, and I have like on pretty much all of mine. So if you're new to this and you've never flipped a home, take what you think your actual budget is and probably add an extra 50%, because there's so many things out there that you don't really know even what you're getting into. Like if you don't have like a subfloor where you got to put down all this plywood, it's like, that's an extra $1,000 right there, $2,000 right there. There's, it's so hard to know how much work flipping a house is unless, again, you're in that industry or you're, in the trades and you're around all that stuff and you have people to tell you those types of things. Because if it's just you making assumptions, I can almost guarantee you're going to be under on your budget.
And then to jump back to what you said a second ago, in terms of adding value to your flip, what would you say are the top 3 things an investor can do to add value?
Yeah, pretty easy. I'm sure you've all heard this before, but just as someone that's done this, I would definitely say you want to do a really nice kitchen. That's a huge selling feature. Your family spends a lot of time there. It's your kind of your crown jewel.
Really nice kitchen. Like, what do you mean? Are you talking like stainless steel appliances, like gold finishes? Are you talking open concept? Like, when you say really nice kitchen, what do you mean?
It's hard to say. So it's so project dependent. So, if we're doing like a full redo of a project and we're looking for higher end rates, or purchase price versus if we're just trying to bring something up to snuff. So basically what I mean by that is you want to just have a considerable part of your budget allocated for the kitchen. The next being the bathroom, same deal. It might be, well worth it to put in like a nice tile surround in the tub. Same with the kitchen, nice tile backsplash, like features like that. Yeah. So for example, on one of my flips, over in North End, Dartmouth, I had ads, I think, posted on Kijiji of like, I'll buy your house, any condition. They reached out to me and we came to the price. I think it was around $62,000. And this was like,
sorry, can you say that again?
I believe it was $62,000.
That's wild.
Yeah. And again, this is like 4 years ago. So like not when we had this huge boom, but like, yeah, back then. So it's like, again, if you're buying these, it's like you really want to get really good deals. That's how you make money on these. So,
yeah. And in other ways, we say that's how you mitigate risk.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and that one, I had cash that I could go in and close with. And then I think after I got like halfway through the project and I was pretty tapped out, I just put a mortgage on it and they gave me they gave me all my money back. I was able to then finish the project and then I sold it after that. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I guess just to talk a little bit more about the private financing side of things. So you can go to maybe an extended family member. You can go search your networks, a family friend or someone that you work with or whatever it is. Again, accredited investor, make sure that asterisk is out there. But you can reach out to them and say, hey, and this is exactly what I did on our first project together. When just someone had said, hey, we have this flip that we're planning on doing. These are the numbers. This is what the projections look like. Gave a little more background on myself and Ian and said, would you be interested in working with us on this? And they said, yes, I would love to. I'm happy to fund the purchase price and the renovations. So they actually did 100% loan to value. But yeah, so we had someone fund that flip, fund the purchase price, fund the construction costs, and we were able to return their investment with
good healthy interest.
Good healthy interest.
Around 13% return, and
something like that.
Probably around 6 months.
Around
I forget
6 months.
exactly what it was, but
So they were happy. We were very happy, and we were able to do it again, a little rinse and repeat. And but I know that's maybe a little bit more of an advanced strategy. But I mean, that was my first project, and I was able to do it because I partnered with someone who had experience. So,
yeah. Like all the topics that we're going into, this is just very high level stuff. We can't really go deep into a lot of this stuff. So if you guys have any other questions about this stuff, like we said, reach out. We are very, very approachable, open to pointing you guys in the right direction and all that good stuff. So again, this is just the high level side of things.
Perfect. I think that covers it for today.
Yeah. No.
Any last points that we might have missed?
Again, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but we have to stop it at some point. So
Yeah,
I think we're there.
All right. Well, I think we will wrap things up. And also just a reminder, we will be hosting another meetup in the month of April, probably towards the end of the month. And again, if you're interested in scaling up your real estate, definitely recommend checking out some of the information we have on the retreat that we'll be hosting. As Ian said, we love real estate. We can talk about it forever. And also, again, just a reminder that Ian and I, we are mortgage brokers working with the Blake Wilson Group, fantastic group dedicated to real estate investors. So if you want to chat mortgages, again, reach out to us about that. But that's it. So don't forget to give us a like, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. Love to hear from you guys. Throw us some comments, throw some likes over this way, and we will see you guys or chat with you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.